Vice Chairman of the Finance Committee of Parliament. Thank you very much for your time. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
So now you have this laid in the House. Explain to us what happens next.
Let me thank you for the opportunity. I'm sure yesterday everyone listened to the presentation by the Deputy Finance Minister. The revelation that came up from the presentation. And if you may recall, during the presentation of the first budget of this administration, the Finance Minister himself hinted that there's been a lot of claims before him, and he's not trying to understand where all those things were coming from. So he's commissioned an audit to find out if indeed we are supposed to pay all those claims. And these same people who are crying today kept demanding answers from him, but he said he's commissioned an audit team to some claims. He's not heard anything from him. Finally, the report was ready yesterday. The minister just gave us the highlights and laid the commission audit report, and same was referred to the Public Accounts Committee. And instead of us coming together to fight this canker, right now they've taken a position to fight against the very thing they were demanding for, or to fight against the government who is trying to make savings and who is trying to nip this thing in the bud. You've read through some of the highlights. Some recycling invoices, some payment, request payments which is not supported by any document, some duplicated claims and all that. So we're talking about some 68.7 billion Ghana cedis here. Do you know what this money can do in this economy? So these are some of the revelations, and those people will be given the opportunity to appear before the Public Accounts Committee to substantiate all these allegations. I hear them say there's no natural justice in these circumstances. Any auditor who undertakes his work after he is done, we call something exit conference. To raise all the issues, give you the opportunity to speak to those matters. Those that you cannot reconcile with him or give proper explanation, he will include them in the management report. After that, same will be captured in the main audit report. And you have your day before any committee set up to investigate the matter. So I don't know why they are running around and trying to accuse the ministry that they are trying to divert attention. Diverting attention to do what? So by the end of the day, this is what is before all of us. And these infractions, we need to deal with them. So it's not about political witch hunt or we are targeting an individual. No, it's happening under an administration. Anything that people will raise issues about will certainly happen under some or somebody's administration. So what they say is neither here nor there. Let's give the committee the opportunity to investigate into this matter and present a report to the plenary so that members will get opportunity to also share their opinions on it.
The interesting thing about Auditor General's report is usually when they are laid before Parliament and Public Accounts Committee is doing its job, it is the people who are currently in office who usually appear to answer questions on them. In this particular situation, who will answer the questions?
This is a special report, not the normal Auditor General's report. The Auditor General was commissioned to undertake an exercise. So this is different from the annual report the Auditor General generates and presents to Parliament. The minister was specific. The claims before me, come and help me audit these claims. Some are recycled. Some is not supported by any document. Some are duplicated. So please help me understand all these transactions. So this is a different arrangement altogether. So either they are present or past, they'll be invited to speak to those issues.
And what about those who are beneficiaries of this? Because in one case, when the minister was talking about the story of the transporter, somebody who took money to who was under a contract to transport a particular amount of goods, doesn't do up to 50%, gets paid for more than 50%, and they were ready to pay him the rest of the money, which will have taken it even above the contract sum. Will that person also appear alongside the person who was making the payments? How would this be arranged?
Because he is the end beneficiary. So if payment has been made to you for no work done, you need to refund the money and face the consequences. So the person who effected the payment, what was the basis for effecting those payments? You receiving the money, what was the basis for receiving the money? So all of them are accomplices.
I see. Some of the things that were said are unbelievable. For you to because if you're recycling invoices, you are also issuing payment orders without documentary support, among others, which is also possible that there were payments made before you came into office, which perhaps have all these features. Is it also possible to look back then, or you can only audit what is in front of you?
This will give you an inclination that if you go back, you unravel a lot of rot. You remember this Bank of Ghana payment to the Polygudan?
Yes.
If you read the narration, they said final payment. Meanwhile, they've not even laid one block. So on what basis did you do that final payment? So these are some of the issues that we are talking about. It tells you clearly that it was a cabal, criminally mandate operation. People just went in just to loot and share. As simple as that. How do you tell me you've made a final payment of which even there's no construction ongoing? How can that be possible? So the one effecting the payment, the one generating all the invoices, the one receiving the money, all of them knew about the transaction that they've done nothing, but let's take undue advantage by the state and loot resources from the state. It was a cabal.
We are talking about billions. In fact, some of the sums that were being mentioned, I heard your colleague shout, "Hey!" Because if members of parliament are shouting, "Hey," you can imagine what those of us in the public are thinking.
Because we are members of parliament, our roads have deteriorated. We want to provide potable water for our people. We are not getting it. We want to provide quality health care for our people. There's no resources. A lot of demands are on us. So if you hear this quantum of money wasted, my brother, can you clap for it? The only thing you shout is A. Because nobody thought people can come together to do the state out to this magnitude. It's very shameful and very sad.
And they have a problem with the kind of suggestion you just made, that when you say this, you make conclusions based on this, you are being unfair to them, that you haven't given them a hearing, that first they must be heard before this kind of things that are said about. They even have problems with the language of the deputy finance minister, that you are passing judgment prematurely. How do you respond to that?
You know, the statement was so fair, said that no name was mentioned, either a company or an individual. So who can say that has not been treated fairly? We're giving out the numbers. We're giving you the information. The real details are in the audited report, which has been referred to the Public Accounts Committee. So all those people involved who we invited, given the opportunity to respond to those queries. Assuming the statement mentioned names of individuals or companies, then I will agree with you. No name was mentioned. So why are they jittering?
Ultimately, it all comes down to what you do with this information. And let me read to you a comment from one of the people following us on Facebook. Kobla Kobla says, To be very frank with you, we the Ghanaians are no more interested in these stories. The corporates are sitting together with them. Scratch my back and I scratch yours. That there are those who feel that all these are stories that you come and tell us, and ultimately will do nothing about it. What's your assurance to them?
I partly do agree with the testers. If nothing happens, they will not take us serious. But when someone is hauled before a court of competent jurisdiction, then they will get to know that an action has been taken. But if we speak to it and nothing happens, I will certainly agree with what he is saying.
So you, even you as a member of the party and also as a member of parliament, you are expecting that action be taken on this by the people who are responsible.
Oh, yes, it can be a talk show. Somebody has committed a crime. Take the person through the process. If by the end of the day, the court decides that there's no evidence to prove otherwise, then the people will get to know that at least you took some steps, but the court has taken a decision. But if you speak to this, you read the statement, and nobody's hauled before the court, no punishment whatsoever, people will not take the political class serious.
Let me conclude then by asking, is it a suggestion that if this audit had not been carried out, all those money would have been paid?
Oh, yes. Because there's a claim on you. I've constructed these kilometers of roads. I've done these supplies. I was given a contract, it is executed. These are the invoices, these are the receipts. And in some instances, they've keyed in through the gate system for payment to be fettered. Meanwhile, there's no transaction. So even that administration has exonerated that no, what they are saying is right. You've not done any work, so there shouldn't be any payment. So one leg, you see them being exonerated, on another leg being implicated in those matters. So if you had not commissioned this or that, you have to go ahead and pay. If you delay in payment, there will be surcharge. And if there will be variations on it, they'll be quoting interest rates and even exchange rate differentials and all that. Failure to do so, you see judgment debt. Meanwhile, the person has done nothing or he has already been paid.
I see. Very interesting. You're saying because some of these requests came from ministries. In the case of a transporter, I was talking about, it came from
agencies.
In the case
so
of
somebody superintended all this work.
Okay. And that's why I'm surprised, because this, in the case of the transporter, came from the Greek ministry, went to the finance ministry. There's somebody who was supposed to look at it. It goes all the way to the controller and accountant general. It was there that the minister put a hold on it. All of this.
Don't waste your energy. Even Attorney General's office, about 742,000 Ghana cedis happen over there. So who watches the watchman?
There's one thing I heard this morning that I don't understand. You are a finance person, so please help me. What is interest rate subsidy?
You see, like I give you a contract. I go to the bank and contract a loan to execute the project. And the last span of the project is stated. The duration period for the completion of the project is also stated. So I use the 6 months or 1 year to complete the work. Failure to pay me, the bank will be charging me an additional interest because I've not been able to honor my debt with the bank. So I took the loan at, let's say, 18% interest rate. I'm supposed to pay, let's say, 120,000 interest. We are delayed has caused me to pay about 300,000 interest. So I will raise a variation letter to you that because of we are delayed in payment, this is what the bank is charging me. So please, make up the difference. If not, will meet me in court. To avoid litigation, you try to make those payments because the person is a contractor. You ask him to do the job. You promise to pay him at a certain date, and you fail to pay him. So by the end of the day, that burden should be on you, not whoever was given the contract.
But how is that applicable under one district, one factory? Because one district, one factory is basically in itself a subsidy program. In some cases, they say they give people tax free, tax breaks among others. I don't know. Is there anything that they did under one district, one factory that involved awarding a contract?
You know, the one district, one factory, many of them were or are private entities. So you go and engage them, that will give you tax exemption of this quantum. And this will influence the person to import those machinery into the country. By the end of the day, Parliament refused to grant that tax exemption. The goods are packed at the port. They are paying demurrages and other rental charges. So the question is, if you are not guaranteeing the payment of tax exemption, giving out the tax exemption, there's no way I will sign on to this contract. So you have caused it. But all these things are gymnastics. All these things are just accounting gymnastics, just to create an avenue to loot money from the state.
Interesting. I would like to do some, because some of the things, like, how can you say a debt is fictitious? How can you have paid money into an account that you cannot trace? The details of the accounts are unclear. Among others, anyway, Honorable, we'll see what comes out of it. Thank you very much.
It sounds funny. Nobody can comprehend what has happened. So we need to get to the bottom of all these matters.
I'll be looking forward to watching those hearings. But thank you, Honorable.
Thank you for having me.
Honorable Richard Acheampong is Vice Chairman, Finance Committee of Parliament, joining us on the line. He agrees with you on the matter of, if nobody is held accountable, then nobody will take the government serious anymore. In most of these cases, SM, what needs to be done are recoveries. Where you realize that there's been double payments made or people have been overpaid, you need to do recoveries. Because some of those people, you need to do recoveries. Because most people will be ready if they really took the money to give you the money back. If they were not the beneficiaries, they will tell you. Then you can pursue the person who claims to have made the payments. Okay, because I realized last year, the president was saying Iyoko alone did over 600 million Ghana cedis in recoveries. Yes, 600 million Ghana cedis in recoveries. So all of this are possible. You can get most of those monies back if these private people actually got these monies. You can get them to either return this money. Of course, the consequences they know of taking money that they did not work for. For example, you gave money to contractors. They said under the Agenda 111, we're building hospitals for sick people too is another problem. $7.9 million. $7.9 million is over, currently under the exchange rate regime, is over 70, it's about 80 to 90 million Ghana cedis. That was given to some contractors. They took the money, didn't mobilize the site or didn't do any work that is commensurate with the monies that they were given. The thing was free for, you see, when it's open season, you are chopping here, I'm chopping here, I'm chopping here. Why are you disturbing me? So, come back, veggie. You see, it was, and they were moving money in millions. So you can, because some of the things you are hearing, it looks like the monies were just being, like money meant nothing under the last administration. It didn't have value. It didn't have value. That's why our currency depreciated. Our currency depreciated because the currency was suffering. So the currency itself was being depreciated by the way it was being treated by the past administration. Like we just move it like that in millions. Nobody really. Charlie. SM do the last this thing
and that's all close.
Charlie, you know, this administration has a big job to do. And I remember the last time when there was this conversation over Honorable Kujeto Ablakwa at the time of when they were doing the oral, they were compiling the cases. They were not doing investigation. They just were a conduit for people to bring in cases of corruption that they believe should be investigated. So you bring in the case if you have some documents to back it. If you want to be a whistleblower, you blow the whistle on something. So they looked at the amounts involved, and then he gave a figure that can be recovered. And the last time the Attorney General was confronted with that, and the Attorney General says, I saw him. He wasn't the one who said it. Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. He said there's no basis for him having said that. But when you hear these things, don't you think that he had a point back then?
Oh, yes.
Because in this one alone, is it 8-point-something billion plus another 1 billion? So if you're talking about 9 billion alone in even the payments that were issued, people who were queuing up saying that government owes me. Government owes me, paid me. So you were queuing up and claiming that government owed you, that you should be paid. In the vetting alone, we found that most of those claims were fictitious. Or there are no basis for those claims that were being made. I'm talking about 9 billion. You haven't come to the cases of where, like in the NSS case, a national service case, you're talking about some monies involving over 2 billion cedis. Add that. You just continue. So, Charlie, you see, so you can just imagine the payments that were made that perhaps fell in these categories, but were made anyway. So there are many things that you can think about when it comes to these issues. Anyway, it's up to.
I was saying that's so home on my Ghana. Why? Young when it does so about clinic now, Busian and sorry, Jumedian and Sonano pay. Patroni does so Dr. Elder Usu, and a year a doctor for a tuturu. Oh, now, Odian say eye pressure, low vision, and I say short sightedness, dear. And ye, and a burning ninkwa, dear, and any that saw her back clinic or Sibra. Or no, they also Oyusu and Habama and Nubina. And our day a treatment, Tinam a year in Tinino fees and in Hunakwa Yagmadiamo. Aye. And Yan could told the Anabian diabetes, and I say stroke, Nujaya hypertension, and I say typhoid, pulse, cuckoo, infections. Malaria, headache, uti type power, wo ni waste so ni sisi. Yene ya montime koton fadie, untime so soren fadie, untime nya no hwe. Eni da so ho man why? Enti for any chani da so herbal clinic na eni mpanifo entime trans no yare no muntu asem fama. Enkra ha de o hwe ni da so herbal clinic amsrew. Womo ewo Tabora Alhaji Walako Junction wa afi kwada so no kwada so estate park e Kumasi womo ho. Wodo ni chimo takra de so dia Port Cortes, no ben Bishop Porter Girls School no house no womo ho. Ebia na person from patro kwan wo 055 990 1234 055 990 1234 and I say 059 619 8884 059 619 8884. I need a so herbal clinic. See in God we trust.
Adam P. Farm says, I cry when I read Auditor General on arrears and payables as at the end of 2024. In fact, if you listen to the level of corruption and stealing that took place, and at the watch of Nanado and his vice, Dr. Baumia, one would just know Mother Ghana was a crime scene under the leadership of Nanado and his vice, Dr. Baumia. They just came to create loot and share. There are many other comments that I can see here. Those of you who are joining us on Facebook. Today, I understand it's the birthday of the one and only Becky Stone. Auntie Becky. That today is your birthday. Happy, many happy birthdays ahead. We'll be back tomorrow with another edition of the Gold Morning Conversation. Thanks for making time to join us today. We'll see you tomorrow. Up next, don't forget it's Reggae Wednesday. So Cool J kicks it off shortly. And then later in the evening, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., is Prime Eye, the Eye of the Most High, on your networks. So do make a date. Stay tuned. If you're a reggae lover, Radio Gold is a place to be. Stay tuned.
So, and then Maria Yabo, Dr. Simenya hepatitis B. And you know what? Oh, yire. Dr. Akosia Duaya. Wawa Power Specialist Herbal Hospital. Hey, yedia wasanya binie. Waje hepatitis. Ayere sa ho award nkwan kron. Nansa bibidru foko akansie. Wono na ji hepatitis award. Waje jibi wo America ni UK abrochimem. Na aka so je ne kwa. Sa na fatty liver ho afra ye donchon. Ebeko prostate se kompa ju ko maboso. And all set it sewo. Se ko to dwenu aye goso kra. Foko Power Specialist Herbal Hospital. Oh, we drankasa enye wenkwa. Osa yade hodo